Well, there we are. It's exactly 2:15 on Friday the 20th of July, and that means that we've been at sea for exactly 18 days to the minute virtually, and we have actually arrived pretty much at Spitsbergen. We come in on this chart here. This island here is Prince Karl's Foreland, and at the moment we're about 30 miles to the southwest, round about there. If the weather was nice and clear, I know from having been in pretty much exactly this spot before, we will be able to see all the peaks of Prince Karl's Foreland, and perhaps starting to see some of the peaks of the mainland behind. But unfortunately it's turned misty again. We've had virtually nothing but fog for the last 2 weeks. It did clear a bit this morning. We had quite a rough night last night, strong wind, heavy rain, fog and all the rest, but the wind's coming off. The weather cleared a little bit for a few hours earlier today, but the fog has come in again, not that thick, but we've only got visibility of about 1 mile at the moment, so we're not going to see much. I'll just come on to the bigger chart here. We're actually not quite onto this chart yet. So again, here's Prince Karl's Foreland. So we'll be coming in. Oh, we just have to see. I might have to come in closer than I normally like to in order to get some views of it. And then we'll head up parallel, and then we shall go up straight north again until we get to here, which is 80 degrees north, and there on the 24th of July 2011 I reached 80 degrees north with Mingming, the Corobie. So I'm hoping to get up to almost exactly the same place to take Mingming II through the same spot, but then we should be carrying on further to the northeast then, and round the top of Spitsbergen, but that's for a little bit later. As far as the voyage so far is concerned, 18 days, we've averaged 70 miles a day, which is pretty good. We've covered, in terms of noon to noon straight line distances, 1,260 miles. So we've done 20 degrees of latitude. We've had no really heavy weather. We've had 1 or 2 blows, good strong force 6s. We've had very, very few calms, just 1 or 2 little calms here and there. So it's been a pretty smooth run all in all. The only bugbear has been this constant fog and mist, which it's just constantly overcast, almost forgotten what the sun looks like. And certainly once we get close to this fantastic mountainous countryside here, it's nice if it's clear so that we can really appreciate it. Just have a very, very quick look through the aft port light. There we are. We're just running in front of a southerly wind which is now coming off, and I doubt whether you can see the actual limits of the visibility here, but it's just kind of on the inside of the horizon. It's already misting up, and once more the sky is completely overcast. There's no definition in the cloud, no sun visible anywhere. But anyway, after 18 days, here we are at our first major landfall, and hopefully we'll get to see some rock and ice pretty soon, and if that happens, I can bring you up to date. Well, just a quick update here. It's the morning of Saturday 21st of July, and we can see here we're in 7835 north, 945 east, and as you can see from the changing seconds there that we're heading mainly north with just a little bit of east. Problem is that we have diabolical visibility at the moment. We are here where my finger is, so we're pretty much exactly halfway up Prince Karl's Foreland, which is this island here. At the moment it's pretty much exactly 12 miles to our east. I'm actually in exactly the same spot where I have been previously. We can see there's a noon position mark for 22nd of July. That was 7 years ago. But we have fog, rain, thick mist, visibility at the moment probably half a mile if you're lucky, and I certainly don't think it's wise to be heading in close enough to try and get a look at the land at the moment. I'd virtually be on top of it before I could see it. So we're shaping a course a little bit east of north, which will anyway take us close in past the top end of Karl's land, Prince Karl's Foreland, I mean, and we'll hope that the weather changes a little bit so we can see something. I'm not that optimistic because we have still this southerly wind, and what it's doing, it's been blowing from the south for a few days now. It's bringing up all this warm air which is coming over the cold sea and then condensing, and we've got these very damp, misty, humid conditions, and I think it's only a change of wind is likely to change that. Anyway, we'll go up past the end of Prince Karl's Foreland, because the last thing I can do is stop. I mean, I can't stop and wait and hope the weather will clear. You just can't do that. It may never happen. You just got to keep going. So we'll carry on, then we'll carry on north. We'll have a lot more land to our east again, so hopefully we might get some views at some point, and then keep going on till we get to 80 north, and then we start heading further to the northeast. So there we are. I suppose I would say that it is disappointing. Trying to locate my finger again. There we are. So that's where we are. It's always nice if you get nice views of the land, having sailed all this way to, well, partly to see it. It's just nice to see it. So we just have to be patient, really. I don't do disappointment. That's absurd. I mean, I've had a fantastically good run up here. I'm 3 weeks ahead of my schedule because I'd originally thought that actually I would, looking at the ice for the previous couple of years, that I would be leaving Whitehills on about the 22nd of July. It's now the 21st of July and I'm already up here with good conditions, so I'm actually 3 weeks ahead of myself. I've had a fantastic run up here, so the last thing I can do is start complaining that I have a bit of mist or fog. That would be a little bit absurd, so I'm not doing that. But anyway, just explaining why we haven't got any beautiful vistas of mountains and ice at the moment. Well, it's just after midday on Saturday 21st of July. Just in our midday position, which is here where my finger is, so that we were actually 7.5 miles to the northwest of the Flugelhoeken, which is the northernmost point of Prince Karl's Foreland. But of course we didn't see anything, and if we'd been half a mile away we would not have seen anything, because the conditions are very, very murky, thick fog and quite a lot of rain as well. So I'm afraid that we've been right up the whole length of the Prince Karl's Foreland, which is always good to see. I think if I ever put this video on YouTube, I might have to put in a bit of my last visit here with Mingming to show the mountains of Prince Karl's Foreland. Anyway, we're going to continue up north, and we're going to be to the west of it's Albert I land here, which looks very interesting. I've seen that from a distance, seen some of the high mountains, but not from close. So I don't know, if the weather does clear, that would be good. But I've just had a look at the log, and in fact we've had fog and overcast conditions without any sun for 10 consecutive days now. So whether it's going to change, who knows. However, the main reason for doing this little clip, if we bring in the GPS here, is because this is going to be coming up one of those significant little moments that punctuate a voyage. Significant for Mingming II. On her last voyage, well, her maiden voyage in her new sort of configuration with me, she reached 79 degrees north to the east of Svalbard at the islands of Karlsland. So now, as you can see, she is just about to get to 79 degrees north to the west of Svalbard, which is very nice. So once we've passed 79 degrees north, which will just be in a minute, looking at this, only another 0.02 seconds to go, seconds of latitude that is, then she will be in new territory latitude wise. I won't be, but we'll come to that a little bit later. So we're having the countdown: 7, 8, 9, 79 degrees north, and there we go, 1, 2, 3. So we, of course, if I can find it, have to celebrate that in the usual way. Here's my blast. So hang on to your ears. So well done, Mingming II, who has now reached 79 north on both sides of Svalbard. Well done.